Hey guys, it's Joey Gaming, and in today's video, I'm going to be debunking claims that the latest school shooting in Uvald, Texas was caused by video games, and I'm going to be telling you guys why that's false and incorrect. But before I can say anything else, I just want to let you guys know that my heart and prayer goes out to all the victims in the mass shooting, and honestly, I believe that there needs to be some sort of change, because as an American, it is really sad to see all these shootings happen almost on a daily basis. We honestly need to change something. We need to do some sort of reform in the United States to make sure this does not happen, you know? I'm not going to be talking about all the solutions. I'm going to be talking about my opinion a little bit behind what caused these shootings. But at the same time, I'm going to be debunking on why video games are not the sole problem behind this issue and why we need to focus on other stuff. Another thing I want to mention is that based off this subject matter, YouTube will probably not let me put advertisements on this video. So do me a favor, if you would like to support me, please go ahead and follow me on all my social media platforms that you see on your screen right now. Because like I said earlier, YouTube will probably not let me monetize this video based off the subject. So if you would like to support me, please go follow me on all my social media platforms and follow me on other places as well. Without any further ado, let's get into this video. The first video clip that I'm going to be reacting to and debunking is a speech made by Ted Cruz shortly after the shooting. So we're going to take a look at that. And by the way, if you don't know who Ted Cruz is currently the senator of Texas. And he had a speech at this rally or conference. I'm not really sure what it is. It's some political thing. So then he had a speech about the event that happened. And yeah, and I'm going to take a look at that video clip and I'm going to give you guys my thoughts.
Tragedies like the events of this week are a mirror, forcing us to ask hard questions, demanding that we see where our culture is failing. Looking at broken families, absent fathers, declining church attendance, social media bullying, violent online content, desensitizing the act of murder in video games, chronic isolation.
Ted Cruz, if you would have done the slightest research, you would have found out that 99% of articles online say that there is no correlation between violent video games and violent gun deaths in the United States. And keep in mind, the United States is not the only country that plays video games. In fact, in 2019, Japan and South Korea played more video games than the United States. However, if you look at this chart, the United States is #1 in mass shootings. So, let's say I'm wrong, right? And video games do cause mass shootings. Why is that number not just as big or even bigger in Japan or South Korea since they played more video games? It absolutely makes no sense. Ted Cruz, you also claimed that video games desensitize murder. That's BS. Let me tell you why. Growing up, I played Call of Duty, Halo, and Grand Theft Auto since the age of 6. And let me tell you something, I was just as disturbed from this shooting as everyone else that does not play video games. Yes, the content in these video games doesn't really bug me because I'm used to it. However, the difference is, those people in those video games are not real. They're fake. They're not real human beings. People in that recent shooting are real, and they're never going to come back into life because they died. You know, that's the thing. And I'm not desensitized from that. In fact, I'm sick to my stomach that this event happened in the first place. I was sick to the stomach because of the Buffalo shooting, the Sandy Hook shooting, and the Parkland shooting. You know, I am not desensitized from murder because I play video games. And I have no idea where you got this argument from. So the next clip I'm going to show you is either the police chief or the sheriff. I'm not exactly sure. It's some guy in law enforcement that is a higher up or whatever, and he's giving a speech about the shooting and new information that came out. I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'm going to play a small part of what he said, and the part he said is actually really stupid, and you're going to see what it is. So here's that clip.
Money in the bank. So why and how is being looked at right now. And I'll tell you this, thousands of more leads are being looked at right now because we haven't answered all the questions. We haven't gotten into the why. Okay, we know the individual was also into cyber gaming in that regard, and group gaming in that regard. So we got a lot of questions are out there. We're seeking answers, but we've got an obligation. We'll continue to.
Okay, Boomer, what does video games have to do with this whole situation? Like I previously established before, there is no evidence linking that violent video games cause actual mass shootings or real-life violence in the real world. To me, it sounds like you have a personal bias against video games. Also, what the hell is cyber gaming? Because that's a term that I have never heard of before in my life of playing video games. To me, it sounds like you know little to nothing about video games and you came up with that term just so you can make video games sound bad. Also, if you guys end up enjoying this video, then please consider subscribing to my cyber gaming YouTube channel, because that'll be awesome. Anyways, the next thing we'll be taking a look at is a tweet from a game developer, which is pretty much a clown moment, and you're gonna see what it is in a minute. The person I'm talking about goes by the name of Russ Peterson. He's a gameplay director at Possibility Space. He previously has worked on World at Warcraft, which is a video game that contains violence, which is something I consider hypocritical based off of his recent tweets. On May 24th, Russ Peterson tweets out, "If you work on a video game that uses modern day firearms to shoot other humans, you need a real hard look in the mirror tonight." And at first, I thought he was joking because, you know, that's a really stupid thing to tweet out on Twitter. But no, he isn't joking. Alex Frostwolf, which he's the social media lead for Apex Legends, responds to us saying, "No, Rust, I think it's you who needs to look in the mirror. This rhetoricy is wrong, and the fact that you, as a senior leader in the industry, are pushing it is atrocious. Video games don't kill people, guns do. Period. We don't need game dev reform, we need gun control." Russ Peterson responds saying, "Guns are a cultural problem in the US. The way we portray guns in media is not the root cause, but it's also blind ignorance to say that glorification of that gun culture in video games is not a contributor to desensitization. I want reform. Our industry is not helping. You know that the things that we say and the way we say them shape how people view the things we have done. That is part of what makes you good at your job. Games that reinforce that narrative that being armed is good actually shapes the perspective of cultural norms." Russ, here's my response to you. Glorifying guns in video games does not lead to mass shootings in real life. Like what I said previously and what other people have said, there are no articles suggesting that video games are linked to real life violence or mass shootings. I promise you, if you try to look up any articles, you're gonna see that most of the time, or not most of the time, 99% of the time, you're gonna find articles that say that there is no evidence suggesting that video games cause violence. And if you really do think that, video games do cause violence, then maybe you probably should consider changing your Twitter banner so it can represent your beliefs more. Because I'm just saying, man. Because that banner contains violence. To end off this video, I just want to give you guys what I really think on what's going on in our today's world. Politicians don't really want to look at the facts. That could be gun control. I'm not supporting or denying that we need gun control. It's just my channel doesn't talk about guns, or it's not related to guns, so I will not be debating that on my channel. The reason why I am debating about if video games cause violence or not is because I am a gaming YouTube channel, and I will debate that since it's what my content is. So I will not be debating if we need gun control, or if it's another political thing, I will not be talking about it. But what I'm saying is that politicians don't want to look into the actual problem, and instead they look for an scapegoat. In this case, it's video games, right? They don't want to be like, "Oh, we need gun reform, or we need better mental health care," you know? Instead, they don't want to look at that. They don't want to give any attention, and what they do is that they blame violent video games. And it's not just politicians. This involves people that don't want to don't want to look into it, and they just blame it something, and they blame it on something that is real easy, which is video games. And the truth of the matter is, this is something we have seen in history before. Before video games, we had movies, right? And the media would blame movies for being violent. And before movies, we had comic books, and the media would blame comic books for being violent. And before comic books, we had music, like metal music. People would have blamed metal music and music in general for making people violent. And even before that, we had newspapers, which people claimed that made people antisocial. So at the end of the day, it's more of a cultural thing and people not accepting change and not understanding what it is. And I'm afraid that we will one day have to have this conversation again, because people don't know what they're talking about, even though we have plenty of studies that suggest that video games do not cause violence. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing, because I do videos like this every single day, or I'm going to attempt to make videos like this every day. Anyways, guys, have a great day, and thanks for watching, and bye.